Hi, I'm Hazel, and this is a guide to the high Tinker Mekkatorque raid boss in Battle of Dazar'Alor on Normal and Heroic difficulty. This is the first Horde Story Encounter, so Alliance will get race changed into Horde races for this guy. We don't get too many gnome-themed fights in this game, so it's kind of refreshing. In Phase 1, we fight Mekkatorque on the ground. His melee attacks will hit harder and harder as long as he's hitting the same target thanks to electroshock strikes. That resets when Mekkatorque switches target, so just tank swap once it starts to hurt. His Buster Cannon will aim at a random player and then fire after a few seconds. You don't want any of what he's selling in that thing, so watch where he's pointing it and get out of the way. Now and then, he'll blast off and crash down with his thrusters. He blasts off with damage in a big brown circle and then crashes down with even more damage in another big brown circle. Get out of any and all big brown circles, especially the second one. He'll target random players with Gigavolt Charge, which explodes after a while with Gigavolt Blast. Take that out of line of sight of the raid or else you'll zap a dot onto them. There's lots of places to get behind and lots of time to do it, so plan out your hiding spot and don't forget. He'll also shrink a few players with World Enlarger. While shrunk, you'll do effectively no damage. If a full-size player steps on you, you'll be trampled, which is a 1-second stun and a big hit. I know it's funny, but try not to step on your friends. If you are shrunk, you'll be needed for the next part, which is Spark Bots. They wander around the arena using Spark Pulse. That zaps random players and also does an AoE damage stun combo within 8 yards of the bot. They're nearly damage immune, so you can't kill them directly. You can root and CC them, which will help keep them out of melee while the shrunk players dismantle them. On Heroic, the bots stack up Wind Up, which makes them Spark Pulse more and eventually become resistant to CC. You gotta shut them down. If you're shrunk, you can carefully enter a Spark Bot between pulses and you get a vehicle bar with 5 buttons. To disarm the bot, you need to hit the correct sequence of 3 buttons. The catch is that you don't get to see the code, but everyone else can. Other players will see the required button over your bot's head, hopefully they tell you, and you can punch it in, repeat twice, and that'll shut it down. On Heroic and higher, only other players that are also in bots can see your code, which narrows down your options for help a bit. If you take too long or enter the wrong code, Anti-Tampering protocol will kick in and leave you with a pretty much lethal dot. Pressing random buttons, not recommended. On Heroic and higher, there's one more mechanic in this phase, which is Wormhole Generator. That ports the entire raid to a random player's location. When that's about to happen, everyone can head towards the middle so that you don't get ported somewhere awkward. Be very careful after the port to avoid stepping on your shrunk friends. Either let them go first or have them always go the same way that only shrunkies are allowed to go. When Mekkatorque hits 40% health, he'll take to the skies for Phase 2. There's nothing to really attack in this phase, it's just about surviving and waiting it out. Gigavolt Charge and World Enlarger continue, so keep lining with the charge, watching out for tinies, and disarm any leftover Spark Bots. Meanwhile, he'll call down herds of exploding sheep. Those land all over and will explode after a few seconds. The explosions do crazy damage within 8 yards of each sheep and then fire out sheep shrapnel in all directions. Get out of the sheep circles and dodge the sheep shrapnel. Try and say that a few times fast. After he comes back, we're basically back to Phase 1, but with one new twist. Hyperdrive buffs Mekkatorque's attack speed by 30%, and he'll start randomly pinging people for damage for the rest of the fight. 40% health on is really long for a final phase, so make sure that you're planning and budgeting defensive cooldowns if you find yourself running out. And that's Mekkatorque in Battle of Dazar'Alor. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you out, please consider leaving me a like, check out my channel for more raid guides and other WoW stuff, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!